Learn to be a ride or fly chick rather than a ride or die chick. I know that ride or die chick is a thing that is shared in our community, and I get what it means. It means to hold your partner down. I get that through good and bad times. I get it. However, if you are an evolved spiritual person, that is really flatlining your responsibilities to your mate. Now, I ain't no expert on relationships or none of that. I have made this mistake myself. But what I have learned is, as a woman, I lean too much into my masculine energy and not enough into my feminine energy. And I've expressed how I didn't like vulnerability, and I thought it was, a weakness, but it was just a defense mechanism to protect myself. So I get that because, society is hard. Society is very hard on us as black people and us as black women. I understand that. So, and out here, trying to survive, you develop an armor that makes you feel like you have to be tough to protect yourself. First of all, you shouldn't be in a relationship with somebody that you feel like you have to protect yourself from. That is not a healthy relationship. Second of all, being tough all the time and not being able to show your vulnerability is causing you to miss out on the very thing that you're supposed to be receiving from your partner. I was guilty of this. I was a very, very aggressive female. I would say things, that were demoralizing. I would say things in an angry tone. I'm not afraid to admit that out loud and take accountability for that. Like I said, I was so into my masculine energy that I had lost touch with my feminine energy. As women, we are built to nurture. That's why a woman can easily have 4 or 5 children and maintain that because we are nurturers by nature. I had to learn to enjoy a healthy relationship. I had to be healed within myself enough to believe in myself, to be worthy of that, and to be soft enough to know how to receive and reflect love in order to manifest and then grow with someone who is healthy and healed. So I learned to encourage, to build up rather than tear down. Just because I'm angry about something or because, I disagreed with something doesn't give me the right to talk to my mate in a way that will make them feel less than. I needed to be able to encourage and build up from my life experiences and being able to express my needs in a healthy way where they could receive it. And then as men, a lot of us women make mistakes in believing that, when you say something that they're not listening. And I'm not saying that, it's men out here that don't listen. Let me just do disclaimer so I don't have to keep doing that because I hate repetitiveness. I know there are men who aren't ready for a serious relationship. Let's just cover that. I know there are, grown males out here. That is the thing that you have to learn. The difference between a grown male and a man. Okay, but in dealing with a man, when you express your feelings, he may not always be in a place to respond right away because men deal with emotions totally different than women. So they may need some time to process what you're saying. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't bring it up again if you need to address something, but, be aware of your tone and be aware of how you deliver things, because sometimes, in most cases, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Words are powerful, and women, we are the ones who breathe life into the planet. So we have the ability with our words to build a person up or tear a person down. And this is just not in reference to just a relationship. You have to think about that in dealing with all people. Because I had to take a look at myself and how I dealt with people and my tone, my deliverance, and my mannerism. That's, with your female relationships, that's with your children, your family members, your friends, your, co-workers. Try to come from a place of encouragement rather than tearing down, and you may get different results with your request, is all I'm saying. Compliment efforts. If you see that a person is trying, encourage that with compliments. I see that you're trying to do better based on taking the trash out on a regular. I see that you're doing better based on keeping your room clean. I see that you're doing better trying not to be as selfish as you used to be in our relationship. And I appreciate that and wanted to let you know. Simple compliments from a great positive place within yourself lets the other person know that their efforts are not going unnoticed and that you are appreciative. 9 times out of 10, this will make them do better in that area, and also maybe even recognize other things that they can do. Because who doesn't want gratitude to be paid when they are doing something well or attempting to change something? Support from a place of power. Our power is our nurturing nature. That is what we were built to do. Being nurturing is not a weakness. And I know today in society, we're taught to be that. Black women, I'm talking to you specifically, because other races are taught to be supportive to their mates. And I'm talking specifically about romantic relationships as far as this point is concerned. Other races are taught to be supportive because they know that their power is within nurturing their partner. We are taught to be strong, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, it has to be a balance. You have to be willing to be soft, because if your mate is coming to you with an issue, or they have had a bad day, or they have turmoil in their life, they do not want to be with someone who doesn't know how to be nurturing. Nurturing is not a weakness. Being strong is okay. Nobody is saying being strong isn't okay. Knowing your position within the universe. Not saying that you should be in the kitchen barefoot raising kids and cooking. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your position within the feminine and masculine energy perspective. There needs to be a balance. Both genders have both, but it needs to be balanced. And in times, when a man is coming, especially our black men, this just needs to be said. Black men are out in society dealing with all kind of issues. They're on guard all day long. He is going to be more comfortable when he gets home and feels like he can put that down. But if he feels like he has to be on guard around you, he might not feel so comfortable and may not remain there. Just food for thought. So I can piggyback on the last one about operating from your nurturing sense, because you need to be the port in the storm for the people that you love. They should come around you and feel relaxed. They should actually look forward to coming to you when they're in an anxious, state when they need to feel loved. You should be their beacon of light, the lighthouse that is seen from the sea. The only way that you can do that for somebody else is if you yourself are at peace within yourself. Now, if you're constantly dealing with your issues and the things that they do are triggering you, and you express that through anger, then you're holding them responsible for the actions of someone else, which is truly unfair, because if it was in reverse, you probably wouldn't receive that well. But making yourself the light in a storm makes you not only comforting, but it makes you irresistible. Because remember, people may forget what you say, but they will always remember how you made them feel. And here's that word again that you might don't like, but express gratitude. Be thankful. Show graciousness for their efforts, for them just being them. That will go a long way in all of your relationships too. Like I said, now your romantic relationships, your friendships, your relationships with your family, your relationships with your children. Everybody enjoys being ingratiated. I like it. I know you like it. Learn to express that. By expressing that, you're teaching the recipient how to live in gratitude and express graciousness back to you and others. It is okay. I get it. I know that we have to be strong. But there are far too many of us that seem angry and that are expressing that, there are no good black men. I don't want to determine and get into labels, whether it's good or bad. The person just may be not good for you. But that is in every race. And remember what I said. Your thoughts become experiences in the physical world manifested. So when you're constantly spewing that from the lips, you're telling the universe that that's all you see. So that is what is presented to you. So if you have a person, you're in a relationship and you meet a person and they do show, and they are good people, express that to them. Express that to your children. You will be surprised how that helps their self-esteem and prepares them for the world. So when the world tries to tell them that they're not this and that, they can't do this and that, they already have somebody pouring into them gratitude for them just being them, which makes them feel powerful. It does wonders for your female relationships too, because enough of us don't share, like I said, our experiences with one another. We're not willing to be as vulnerable with one another as we are, some of us, with men. Sure, you may talk to your girlfriend about your issues and things of that nature, but when I'm talking about being vulnerable, I'm talking about being able to show empathy and compassion for their situation, even if you haven't experienced it. You can empathize and have compassion that they are experiencing something, even if you don't agree with the situation. And you can follow that up with graciousness for having the relationship, for being their friend and them being yours. I just wanted to do this video because I felt like it's important. Having strength is a great asset, but also being vulnerable and learning to be comfortable in being vulnerable is also a strength and not a weakness. Admitting that you need people in your life is okay. We were designed to interact with one another. I think social media has moved us too far away from has moved us away from remembering the importance of human connection and then knowing how to relate to one another as human beings. Think about it. In the meantime, stay glitch.